All praise is due to Allah, who has united the hearts of the believer in Islam, and has made it an obligation to remain united, and has made it forbidden to become separated in His clear book. I bear witness that there is nothing worthy of worship except Allah, who guides to the straight path whom He wills, and I bear witness that our leader Muhammad is His messenger and the best caller to the way that is straight. O Allah, send your prayers and your peace upon our leader Muhammad and upon his family and upon his companions, whose hearts were united and whose souls were educated, so that they became victorious leaders. And what follows thereafter, O believers of Allah, I advise you as well as I advise myself, to first have the proper regard for Allah, and thereafter be obedient to Him. Dear believers, I greet you with the universal greetings of peace. Assalamu alaikum, which means peace be with you. This week we are looking at the attribute of Al-Ghani. Al-Ghani, which means the self-sufficient. And this is a great attribute for us to keep in mind regarding our Creator, because it is saying that our Creator does not need anything. Our Creator does not need anyone. And we see this throughout the attributes. We see this, we see the context being built where Allah is the one who provides mercy, the one who created. So if Allah was not the creator, or if he was not Al-Khaliq, the creator, he would need some help. There would be someone else. And that's when we see these attributes, how they have that prefix of al, that makes it this definite article that says the Ar-Rahman, the merciful, Al-Ghafur, the forgiving. We see this prefix of the. It would be that Allah would need the help of someone else to fulfill this role. But Allah is Al-Ghani. Allah is self-sufficient, meaning Allah does not need anything. Allah does not need help. He has the capacity to do all these things. He has the capacity to do whatever He decides to do. Unlike us, where we think of ourselves, where we think about the things that we need. We think about the help that we need. We think about the things that we need from each other. We think about the nutrients that we have to get from the sun, the foods that we eat. All these things to help keep us alive, to help make us successful. We need these things. We are not self-sufficient. We are needy. But Allah is Al-Ghani. Allah is the self-sufficient. So He does not need help with the ordering of the stars. He did not need help with creating man. He did not need help with creating the proper balance of air for us to breathe. He didn't need to look at somebody else's research. He didn't need to study somebody else's work. He didn't need to take in an opinion of others to decide what color the sky should be, or what color the grass should be, what a baby's laugh should sound like. Allah did not need help for that. Allah is Al-Ghani. Allah is the self-sufficient. He makes His own decisions. He doesn't need the help of anyone. There is nothing that we can do. There is nothing that anyone can do that can benefit Allah. All the things that we do are for our own benefit, because we need help. We are not self-sufficient. We are not Al-Ghani. We require our prayers to be heard, our sins to be forgiven, entry into paradise, removed away from the hellfire. We need those things for ourselves, because we are not Al-Ghani. We are not on that level as the Creator. So this attribute, it sets a place. It sets and we have to be very careful. We can't say that it sets a bar that Allah sits at, because there is no limit on what Allah's capacity is. But for us, it puts things into perspective to let us know that that's not us. That we need help. That we need the support of others. Allah is Al-Ghani. Allah is the self-sufficient. أقول قولي أستغفر الله لي ولكم والحمد لله رب العالمين. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. So we hear this statement a lot, that it takes a village to raise a child, meaning that it takes groups of people to take a child to get it to a certain place. We think about even in the creation of that child, where it takes a mother and a father, or it takes specific things that are already created by Allah to come together to form the cells, to come together and begin to grow and nourish. And this thing that was already created by Allah, that came together to create something else, it had to have an environment. It needed an environment for it to grow, to be sustained in. And this environment needed to be nourished. And the nourishment came from something else that Allah created, that went into the body of the mother and provide nutrients and provide vitamins and provide all these things that were going to be helpful inside this mother. And it was not just the nutrients that came from the outside, it was the environment, the way that the mother was spoken to, the things that the mother did, that environment that would create a change or would affect this child that was growing inside this mother. And this mother who had this environment had to be in a place where she had safety, where she wasn't subjected to the weather, things that could harm her. Maybe it was predators, maybe whatever it could be that was external. She had to be in this place, and that place that she took refuge in was built by someone else who took something that Allah created and put together and brought together to make this structure. And to get to the hospital, she had to take a vehicle that was made by people who went through the same process as this child, to take the materials from what Allah created and make the vehicle to get to the hospital, to be helped and worked on by doctors who went to school, who learned information from people who studied from someone else who went through the same process as the baby. And they took their time, and they had someone teaching them, helping them, coaching them to make them be the best that they could be, to perform the necessary procedures on this mother for this baby to come into the world. And after all that, when this baby was born, the baby needed to be fed. The baby needed to be nourished. The baby needed to be rocked to sleep. The baby needed to be held. The baby needed to be cleaned after it used the restroom. The baby needed to be carried from one place to the other because it couldn't walk. And as it began to learn how to walk and it began to get older, it needed encouragement. It needed words to make it feel better about itself. So it grew up and became a strong, healthy child. And that child needed to be taken to a place to get education, to be taught by people who went through the same process that this child went through to be born and to be educated. And they became an adult. And as they grew up, they became attached to their creator. They became God conscious, because they understood that all the things that got them to that very point, everything that added up in their life and in the lives of others before them to get to that very point, all depended on the Creator. And if they wanted to achieve paradise, if they wanted to be fulfilled in the next life, they needed their Creator's love. They needed the forgiveness from their Creator to forgive them for all the things that they did. So here we see, dear believers, that we are not self-sufficient. We come from a history of needing help. Generations after generations, all the way to the beginning of creation. But in no point was this the case for our Creator, Allah, Al-Ghani, the self-sufficient. He needed none of that. He did not need any help designing you. He did not need any help designing the galaxies. He is Al-Ghani. And he did not need any help designing paradise. So let's turn to our Creator and be grateful. Let's turn to our Creator and understand that this attribute of Al-Ghani shows us another reason why our Creator is worthy of worship. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار ربنا تقبل منا إنك السميع العليم إن صلاتي ونسكي ومحياي ومماتي لله رب العالمين لا شريك له بذلك أمرت وأنا أول المسلمين الحمد لله رب العالمين آمين.